Hello, and welcome to another B.T.F.O. Today we're going to talk about Sinners, the new Ryan Coogler film. Right off the bat, I guess without getting into spoilers or anything, I liked this movie. I would recommend it. If you're interested, I think you'll have a good time with it. I didn't love it, and we'll sort of get into that. But so basically, the movie is about Michael B. Jordan. He plays a set of twin brothers who have basically they're trying to start up their own little club in the Deep South. I want to say it's Missouri or Mississippi, one of those, and I'm not quite sure. I can't quite remember that, but somewhere in the South, they're trying to set up a juke joint, and it's like the 1930s, and they've got a cousin, or is he their nephew? Yeah, no, he's their cousin. That he's really good on the guitar and plays real good music, so they want him to perform live for their opening night. Basically stuff happens, vampire shows up, starts turning people into vampires, and chaos ensues. I liked a lot of this film. I like a lot of the ideas that it deals with. I do like the idea of music being something that connects you to the past and the future. I will say that I think this is kind of a problem that I don't know if it's just modern filmmakers or what, but I really do wish that sometimes things could just be a metaphor that you can let me as the audience member think about what that might mean, or that you could do in a subtle way, because I know that a lot of people have praised the barn burning scene, but to me it felt really kind of cringe, where I don't necessarily hate the scene, I just wish that it had been done better, in a more subtle way, because it's I don't need to see the tribal African guy banging on his drums, and I don't need to see the funk black guy playing his guitar, and I don't need, cause that was one thing where it's I'm not huge into music, I've never studied music theory or whatever, but it did feel really weird where it just at some points in that sequence, some of the music just feels like it abruptly starts and then stops. Particularly one of the different iterations of rap that they played, it was ooh, that does not, because it's I get it, your message is that it's connecting us to the future and our ancestors, but I don't know, man, blues was not meant to gel with rap music, they are two entirely different categories, and I think that's fine, and I think you can like both. I'm not out there going, oh, rap music isn't music, it's no, that's stupid, but I don't know, I wish it had been done in a bit more of a subtle way, because I think it would have been fine to just have the music slowly shift into these sort of different genres, or occasionally have a background character kind of look like they're a bit out of place, but not. I don't think you needed to put a bunch of attention on it. And then, like, as far as the vampires go, I do really like the main vampire. He's pretty cool. I do wish, though, that the movie would have, like, made more of a point about why being a vampire is bad. Because, like, they obviously take a lot of inspiration from Bram Stoker's Dracula novel, which it's like, yeah, that's cool, but in that they like pretty clearly explain that, well, you don't want to be a vampire because like you're gonna have an insatiable bloodlust. Like, you know, that's basically like you're gonna spend eternity just trying to like seek out blood. Whereas in this, it really seems like the only downside to being a vampire is just you can't go out in the sun. But like other than that, you're like perfectly fine and normal and like of your own mind, though you do get shared intelligence with every other vampire. And your eyes glow, which was one thing that I do wish the like eyes glowing was consistent. Because like I like that they did the red eyes for the main vampire, because that's something from Dracula the novel. But then like Haley Steinfeld, she has like yellow eyes, and Michael B. Jordan has purple eyes, and like a lot of them have like blue eyes. And it's like, okay, I don't know why we needed to do all the different colors, but that's all right, I guess. You know, like that is firmly just a nitpick. But I will say it felt really weird that our main team, so like once people start getting turned into vampires, we're left with a group of like 5 people in the barn, and they understand that all the vampires have to be invited into the building, which seems kind of weird because like several times when someone turned into a vampire or like was exposed as a vampire, they just run out of the building, when it's like, I mean, it doesn't really look like they can do a whole lot like against you guys. Like at one point they figure out that garlic hurts them, but like for the most part they just keep trying to shoot the vampires, and it's like, well, but guys, that doesn't work though. And like, you know, it doesn't work, and it feels really weird because then like the vampires, they convince or they get the one Chinese lady, they use her husband to like get her all pissed off, and so then she yells out for like every single one of them to come in there, when it's like, I don't know, man, I feel like, would it not be stronger to have them be like, okay, let's try inviting one singular one inside, and we're just gonna like spray them with garlic water and see what it does. Like, I feel like that would have been way better, but instead they all run in, and it's really weird to me because this is one of the parts of the movie that I don't like, where it's like, I like a lot of this movie. I like a lot of the themes of like past and future, and what do you want to do with your life, and like what should you do with your life. You know, I think that's kind of a interesting thing, but I really hate that when the vampires come in, like there's like 5 of them, and I don't know, maybe like I do need to rewatch it, and like I plan on rewatching it, but I swear they just have another person on like the good guy team to get turned into a vampire right at the beginning of when the vampires come in, because I swear there was only like 5 of them, 5 or 6 of them, like then one of them, like just this other guy gets turned into a vampire, but there are like at least 30 vampires, and every person that they turn into another vampire means that like that's more vampires that can attack the rest of the group. And like, I don't know, it just, to me, it got really silly, where like near the end, you've got Michael B. Jordan fighting himself, and like the preacher boy fighting the main vampire. And it's like, okay, but what are all the other vampires doing? And they show us that, like, oh, they're just watching preacher boy like fighting with the main vampire. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's a choice. And like then most of them end up dying. Then after the credits start rolling, we get the end of the movie, which that's one thing for me where like I appreciate using end credits. I think you can use them to like really complement the story. I think they can be used for a lot more than just Marvel's, hey, we've got something else coming out down the line, maybe. Like, I think they can be used for a lot more. But I do think they should be supplemental to the story. Whereas, like, this mid-credit scene, if you don't watch it, you don't get the end of the movie. Like, the movie kind of, like, it doesn't really resolve until you get through this, like, mid-credit scene that's, like, 10 minutes long, or at least 5. But it felt like it was, like, 10 minutes long. And, like, I don't know, it feels weird to me where, like, they have him repair the guitar, even though they mentioned earlier in the movie that, like, it was, like, Smoke and Stack's dad's guitar, and, like, he beat them, and so they believe that, like, maybe it's some of the evil in that guitar that, like, brought the vampires to them. But he, like, gets it repaired and, like, starts playing it, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, I suppose there could be a metaphor in there. It's just feels kind of weird when we're, like, treating magic like an actual system that exists. That it's like, why would you want to, like, try and use the evil instrument? Like, you can just get a different guitar. And, like, it is, again, like, it's kind of one of those things where they have Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld, they, like, show up at the end. They're like, oh, preacher boy, like, you've gotten really old, like, if you want, we can turn you into a vampire. And he's like, nah, I'm good. So they're like, okay, and they just walk away. And it's like, okay, so again, like, what is the only downside to being a vampire? Just literally that, like, oh, I can't go out during the daylight. It's like, okay, well, like, depending on where you live, that's not actually that bad of a deal, right? Like, especially when it's like, yeah, you're, like, alive forever, so you can basically do whatever the fuck you want. And so, yeah, I don't know. I wanted to basically, in this B.T.F.O, like, my major thoughts on the movie were just some, like, complaints that I had where they're not big issues. I like a lot of the movie. I like the fact that they, like, point out that, oh, the Smoke and Stack that, like, they ripped off the Italians and the Irish in Chicago, and, like, then came down with all their money to try and, like, set up a new thing down in the South, and that doesn't work out for them. I do think it's a little weird at the end where they have Michael B. Jordan just shoot all the KKK guys. To me, it's like, man, I should be feeling a lot of, like, catharsis in this, but you haven't set this up at all. Like, all you've shown the KKK guy do was he sold them the barn and he called them boy. And it's like, okay, yeah, like, I get that you didn't like when he called you boy, but then you did act like a child where you're like, oh, yeah, well, like, guess what? I've got a gun. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, no, like, sorry, I get it. You didn't like that he called you that, but, like, don't pull a gun on the guy that you haven't bought the barn yet from. Like, dumbass. Like, and I don't know, I think a lot about, like, Django, right? Where it's like, I really fucking enjoy the scene with them, like, blowing off and or blowing up and like picking off the KKK members and that. But that's because they've done a lot to build up, like, no, these are truly fucking, like, evil people. And so you get a lot of catharsis out of that. Whereas in this, I feel like they were just sort of like, having them be KKK, that's enough, right? And it's like, I mean, kind of, but it feels really weird that it's like, oh, so we fought off these vampires, like really evil pieces of shit, like we fought off all those, and then we just also had this other group of evil people come in, and so then we killed all of those. It's like, oh, okay, like, because, you know, it's one of those things where I would bet that if you asked them, well, why are we spending so much time with the vampires and like setting up their motivations and stuff, it's like, well, obviously that's so that like when we kill them off, that lands, right? Like that's set up and payoff, right? Whereas the like clan people, it feels like there's just hardly any setup, it's just payoff, and it, I don't know, it just comes off as kind of hollow to me. Or it's like I really should, like, I should be feeling catharsis, and you know, it's like I don't mind that they killed the clan members, like, you know, it's like, go ahead, but I don't know, it feels really weird. But yeah, I basically wanted to, with this B.T.F.O, put some of my thoughts out for it. I would recommend the movie, absolutely. I think it's a really good movie. I think these are just some of the things that keep it like held back from being a really great movie. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.